Hey everybody, welcome to the PixelBlips podcast for March 31st, 2013. I'm Andy Ryan. Have you hugged your console today? Joining me is Dave. Show me on the gamepad where they touched you, DeWort. Dave, what do you play this week?
I've been playing The Cave from Double Fine. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's a 2D puzzler where you have a mix of different character classes you can take with you, or classes, but they're different characters that have different abilities. And it's kind of interesting, you know, like I said, it's a 2D puzzler, so you work your way through the cave, you have to go through and do the puzzles, and then each character has their own specific character puzzle. So far I've already passed like 3 of them, and I've only done 2 of them. 2 of the 3 for my characters. It seems like it has a lot of replayability, but I have a feeling that you're going to wind up doing the character ones just to do the character ones, and then you wind up doing the same like 2 or 3 puzzles over again, like the generic puzzles. It's pretty fun though. I'm having a lot of I like some of the stuff. Like I took the adventurer, the twins, and the scientist, and the twins level is all about them trying to get out of their house, and it's like real dark and morbid, and it's kind of cool.
Interesting.
And you know, I think I've done the adventurer one too, and that's like you have to go to this pyramid, get the sarcophagus, and things like that. So it's a pretty neat game. It was free on the PS Plus last week. I don't know if it still is.
They usually stay out pretty long, so
Stay out for a couple of weeks. So yeah, if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you should definitely go pick it up. It's probably going to run you about 2 or 3 hours, less the second time and third time you play through.
okay.
Now, the only problem I have is I know there's what, 7 characters in it, and you could choose 3, so you're going to wind up doing some of those puzzles again. And whether or not you want to do that is kind of really whether or not you're going to play it more than twice. I would like to see some of the character puzzles, because that's where the narrator actually comes in and starts talking and gives you little story bits about the different characters.
Interesting.
Like when you're playing around with the adventurer, it's like, oh well, the adventurer is willing to sacrifice everybody for her objectives and things like that, and it plays out throughout the puzzles that you're solving with her. So and that seems like that's the most fun and interesting parts of that game. So what have you been up to?
Oh, I've also on PlayStation Plus this week was Disgaea 3 for the Vita.
I picked that up, but I haven't played it.
So I've been reliving my love of Disgaea games. This one has an interesting reincarnation mechanic that I don't believe was in the regular game.
The one that came out on the PS3?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't in there. Where you die and you basically you restart, but you have all your stuff.
Okay.
So you start back at square one, but you have your
all
experiences and levels and stuff. Yeah. So it's really fun, and it makes it a lot easier, and you kind of just run through and do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the type of thing that I like. You know, I like doing. So
it's
strategy RPG is my thing.
Yeah. And those fights, I mean, I think it plays well on the Vita. Just what a little bit I've played of it is.
There's some weird rear touch stuff.
Yeah, the rear touch stuff is kind of irritating.
Into.
I'm going to turn it off, I think, next time I get into play. But I think with the Vita, it probably works better than it would with the PS3 in that it has that suspend mode where you can just go, okay, I'm in the middle of a thing, but I got to go, hit suspend, put it back in your bag, whip it back out when you get home. Because you can't save in the middle of a battle, right?
No, but it's the Vita, so you can just suspend it.
Yeah, but I'm saying like on the PS3 version, you couldn't. You would have to either finish the battle or restart the battle.
Yeah, so the other thing is like during the item worlds where you get a lot of the randomly generated dungeons, I ran into a lot of like I would have to clear out large portions of my day because you're not able to save in the middle of those dungeons.
Well, and now with the Vita you can do that because it's like you just suspend, call it a day.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still very anime-ish. It's still not
crazy anime story.
It's still not the best of the Disgaeas that I've played, but it's a good fit for the Vita, and it's a good game. So I think people should check it out.
Yeah, and it's a really it seems like a really big time sink. Like you were telling me you played the PS3 version for 50 hours, and only about 15 to 20 of it you were actually doing story stuff. Everything else was
I would say less than 15 to 20.
Grinding out weapons and things like that.
Because that's kind of the thing you do. I mean, it's a Disgaea game.
It seems like it's a really interesting game. Now, I don't know much about it. I know you're like given a bunch of characters. Do you ever learn anything about those characters, or are they just your little minions for?
There are certain characters. There's a main character and supporting characters, and then there's like the minions.
Yeah.
And the minions don't really have a history or anything. But there's a lot of supporting characters that you get as the game kind of trudges on.
Progresses. Okay. Yeah. So they just give you like this cast of characters to start with, and then their stories kind of fill out, or
no. Like as the story goes ahead, you will gain more characters.
Oh, okay. So you get more than just those 5 that you start with.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can always make more if you want.
You make them?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This game just melts my face with how deep it is.
It's very interesting, and it is a deep deep game.
Okay. Well, cool. Now I have even more of a reason to want to play Disgaea 3. Having never played a Disgaea game before, it sounds
The
like
absence from detention?
Yeah.
Absence of detention? Something.
I don't know. It just seems like this game's going to waste my summer once we get there. So, all right, cool.
So what we want to talk about, so we weren't together last weekend because it was a snowstorm. The weekend before that was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
So stuff's happened. So GDC, the Game Developers
Yep,
Conference,
that was last week.
PAX East in Boston.
That was also last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Let's see, the Midwest Gaming Classic also. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it. Those are the three.
Sure. There was
So anyway, there's Capcom is a company that we mostly love, but have a love-hate relationship with.
Yeah, they do some stuff that makes us mad, some stuff that makes us real freaking happy.
Yeah. So they announced 2 new games that I honestly did not think would ever show back up.
DuckTales and the Chronicles of Mystara.
Yes.
The
Chronicles of Mystara is the 2 Dungeons and Dragons arcade games.
The
in
side-scroll
a
and beat 'em up
package.
type games.
Yeah, which I really love.
Oh yeah, those are great games.
And I love beat 'em ups to begin with. And
Yeah.
these are some of the best. Two of the best.
Well, because Capcom's really good at when they find something that they like and that their fans like, they will make it better.
Yeah.
And just keep making it
a
better.
continued iteration. So the other thing was DuckTales Remastered, which is by WayForward, who are a developer that I really enjoy. I like most of the games they've made. And they're going back and HD-ifying the original Nintendo DuckTales.
I mean, I like the idea of them doing it. The screens and stuff that I've seen just kind of, I don't know, it breaks the game for me. I like having the backgrounds that were just
Well, but I know that game well enough that I like when I was watching that first trailer.
You're like,
I
oh,
was
I know where you
I
were
can
at in
totally
this
pick
world.
out where you are in that
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
And it's very good, and you can tell that they're fans of it.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that Capcom's fans of it, and Capcom announced these both at PAX East, and kind of a gift to the fans.
Yeah,
the definition of actual fan service, not just panty shots.
You know, a lot of people were like, hey, this is freaking amazing. In fact,
Yes.
when they had the reveal,
People like flipped out.
and they were singing along with the theme song in the
Yes.
theater that they were in. And
To
you know, I'm
DuckTales.
sure you could find the video on YouTube somewhere.
On YouTube, yes. And it's really great, and how Capcom did it, both, all parties involved. Wizards of the Coast, who owns Dungeons & Dragons, Capcom, Disney Interactive, who owns DuckTales,
The DuckTales
WayForward. They all kind of came together and said, we're going to do this for the fans. And,
Oh, yeah.
and since it's for the fans, we're going to let the fans
Know
be
about it.
part of it,
Yeah.
be part of that reveal.
And that's why they did it at PAX East instead of, say,
E3
or
they could have
Tokyo
done it
Game
at
Show
GDC
or something. Like
yeah. So it was really kind of a gift to the fans, and it was really nice and really exciting. The only problem with it was
The fans.
the fans. And it wasn't the fans.
It wasn't all the fans. It
wasn't
just
all
a
the
subset
fans.
of the fans.
There's a subset of the gaming enthusiasts
Yes.
that are just horribly negative about everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get that with a lot of companies or a lot of like communities. You get people who are negative about stuff just to be negative about stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it. Not to use the Peter Griffinism, but it grinds my gears.
It does grind my gears.
And it's like, you know, Dave and I come from a time in gaming where, like, you had magazines,
Yeah.
and that was it.
That was
And
how you got your news.
Like, a game was probably announced to you at the store when they were selling it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we didn't
mean,
have previews, we didn't have reviews.
You
Like,
didn't have pre-orders or anything like that because, you know, when you
the
went to the
infrastructure
store,
wasn't there for it.
you might have seen a poster at a Toys R Us or something, and that's how you knew, hey, there's a new Zelda coming out, or there's a new, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog game coming out.
Yeah.
Now you always formulate this idea in your head. It's like, okay, I beat Sonic 1. I wonder what they're going to do in Sonic 2. You know, when you're like 6, when
Yes.
that first game comes out. But you never know if that game is actually in development until you see.
You don't know that you're actually going to get Sonic 2 or you're actually going to get anything until you actually was there and it was purchasable.
Yeah.
It was really fun, really great.
Yeah.
And in the late 90s and early 2000s, that kind of changed over. That now we have, you know, Destructoid and Kotaku and Joystick and
Not that there's anything wrong with these guys.
IGN,
I love
GameSpot,
watching, you know, going through your
Giant
guys'
Bomb.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of flood of information, and now nothing's to steal a Louis C.K.ism. Everything is amazing, and it all sucks.
Yeah.
Like, And people with the DuckTales thing, they're like, oh, it's just a cash grab for Capcom and Disney. Disney doesn't have a DuckTales TV show coming out. They don't have a DuckTales movie coming out.
There's no reason for this game to exist.
I think the DuckTales comic is even canceled at this point. There's no reason for this game to exist except that they're fans and they want to make it.
Yeah.
And they want a new generation to experience it. And this whole negativity, and people at GDC were even talking about it, that this is kind of the press doesn't like the fans because they're mad at the press all the time. The press doesn't like the publishers and developers because they feel like they can't get the access they need. The publishers and developers are mad at the press because they feel like they're just trying to get page views, any juicy story. The publishers and developers are mad at the fans because they feel like it's never going to be good enough.
There's nothing they can do to make the fans happy.
Yeah. And I posted it on Twitter, and I really do stand behind the sentiment that the comments section is what is wrong with the games industry.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they take those comments to heart and they're like, they actually get, they take it and they're like, well, that sucks. Now I'm not going to do this anymore.
I mean, like the kids that were writing in the comments section 10 years ago are now writing the blog posts on things like Destructoid and Kotaku and stuff like that. And those aren't all, I don't want to lump those three. The blog articles are not always up to what I would consider journalistic standards of integrity. Like a lot of the times you can tell, like, oh, this is just for page views.
Yeah.
And I think that's a negativity. But the problem is obviously the press needs those page views to eat.
Yeah, they need the page views to get paid and to keep the page running and as well, to then get traffic to the articles that matter.
It happened with Phil Fish at GDC where he said something about the brunt of it on Twitter was that he was not happy with his 3DS because controlling Monster Hunter was horrible with it until he got the circle pad, which made it even bulkier and stuff.
Yeah.
So on Destructoid, they wrote that Phil Fish hates the 3DS and basically took... They were his Twitter comments. They were entirely out of context and without what I would consider...
a reference point.
Yeah, the actual author's interpretation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but in that specific example, I could see why Monster Hunter would be difficult to play without the circle pad because of the camera control issues you would have.
But the Destructoid article basically inferred into these comments a bunch of sentiment from Phil Fish that obviously he doesn't agree with.
Or he didn't verbally say that he agrees with. Maybe it's in his head, but he's never said it out loud.
Yeah. And a bunch of this is, and the same thing happened with Brian Provinciano, the guy that makes Retro City Rampage, when he basically threw up a bar graph and Joystick interpreted it as certain numbers, but got it all wrong, got the numbers all wrong, and now everyone's like, oh, Provinciano's just a PlayStation fanboy, he hates Nintendo, blah, 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 blah. And Provinciano came out and said, like, no, you guys got the numbers wrong, and Joystick, to their credit, tried to fix the article, but a lot of the damage was already done. It was really funny to see Provinciano, because he's a good guy, in the comments, like, replying to people, like, no, you got this confused, I haven't made any money off the WiiWare version yet, and a lot of it is really just, and then that caused fan backlash.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for one, Nintendo fans are a sensitive bunch, but I think all fans by definition are a sensitive bunch.
Well, yeah, because you're a fan of something, you don't want anybody to say anything bad.
But at the same token, like, you didn't do anything to become a fan. I didn't do anything to become a fan. You didn't do anything to become a fan.
All we did was buy the games and enjoy them.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes to be a fan. That's great, but then
But there's some fans have a sense of entitlement that go along with it.
Yeah.
Like I read comments on the Joystick article where this guy was very upset because he was under the assumption that Retro City Rampage was originally going to be a Wii exclusive, and now Provinciano was burning the Wii or burning the Wii U, and that wasn't the case. No. He was mistaken, but it was that kind of sense of entitlement. Like, what does it matter to you if it's a Wii exclusive?
If it came out on the Wii first, or if it came out on the PC first, or whatever,
I mean, we're not saying his opinion is invalid. I mean, he was mistaken, so that there's a large jump of invalidating his opinion. But the opinion of itself did not really have what I would consider merit. No. It would be like, well, when Final Fantasy 13 jumped to Xbox, a lot of people were very upset and very hurt
that it went.
And I was too. Like when I was watching that live, and when the initial announcement happened, I was like, "What?" But that was about as disappointed as I was about it.
Well, and
because it's not like PlayStation 3 wasn't getting Final Fantasy 13.
No, it's not like it was exclusively for the Xbox instead of whatever. I mean, you know, the game exclusivity is, I think, not something that we should really, be fans of. Like, I think a game should be on as many platforms as the developer wants to make it for.
Yes.
And that's not something that we should be upset about. In fact, we should be embracing that to a degree because it's like, well, now more people are going to get to play this game. Now, do I wish that they put God of War on the 360 at some point? Yeah, kind of, but I know Sony Santa Monica is owned by Sony. Yeah. So they're not going
to.
I'm
sure they don't want to either.
No.
I'm sure they don't want to port it.
Well, because they develop specifically for the PS3. Yeah. There's all those
exclusivity has its place as a differentiator between platforms.
But I don't think that's a reason that we should become fans of a game is because it's only on the PlayStation 3.
You should become fans of it. You should be a fan of a game because it's a good game in your opinion. And you really like it.
Regardless of what you play it on. Now, somebody can say, "Oh, well, you're playing it on the Xbox. It's an inferior game." And in some cases, it is. Like if you look at Final Fantasy 13 on the PS3 and the Xbox version has lower res textures. It's on what, 4 discs, 3 discs, something like that. I have
no clue.
It's the same game. It's just there are very, very clear lines of
but I mean,
quality issue.
As a fan, this once again really shouldn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just people are like, oh, we're playing it on this. It must suck.
Well, and once again, Fish, Provinciano aren't seasoned PR veterans.
No, they're developers.
They're developers, and they're indie developers too, so they haven't even really come up within the industry to learn the bells and whistles. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of learning as they go. But even at GDC, there was a talk, and apparently a majority of developers feel that the press would rather talk to PR people than to the developers.
Which makes
and a majority of the press went, no, that's like the exact opposite of what we wish would happen. We would rather talk to the developers,
Yeah, because
humanize the story, like the people actually making the game instead of the people hired by the corporate entity to promote the game.
Yeah, well, and the people who made the game will know exactly what they're talking about. They may not know what they can and can't say about it, and that's why they need the PR guy off in the corner. But you don't want to talk to the PR guy because the PR guy's got a list of stuff he can talk about, and that's it.
Yep. If it's not on that list, sorry.
If it's not on that list, you don't need to know about it as far as I'm concerned. Now, the developers might let like little snippets of information go, and the PR guy just kind of misses it.
Yeah, so this circle of negativity in the gamer space and in games in general, I feel is leading to more negativity. It's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
Because publishers just think that whenever they release a new IP and people are mad about it, in the comment section, they're like, oh, well, they just want a sequel. Because the sequel is going to make us money anyway, and apparently it's going to make them happy. And then they release the sequel, and people are like, oh, it's just another sequel to something, another yearly iteration. And the publisher's now stuck with nothing to do. The developers don't know because they're trying new things. They're trying stuff out, and it backfires. And people like throw vitriol their direction. If the game's broken and doesn't work, yes, you should be very angry about that. You should be
upset that you spent $50, $60 on that game and it's junk.
But if it's taking you like an inordinate amount of time to just get through one part of the game, that doesn't make the game shit.
Are you bashing me? Because it took me forever to get through the Trial of Archimedes.
I'm not bashing you because it took you forever to get through the Trial of Archimedes. I'm just saying that you were like, this game's horrible. It's the worst God of War.
I didn't say it was a horrible game. I said it was an overtuned section that needed to have been fixed prior to release.
And you said this was the worst God of War game ever.
I said it was my least favorite.
Yeah, your least favorite.
It's not worst.
Okay. Well, it's his least favorite.
It was, and then I got through the section and it's fine.
Yes.
Pre-patch, by the way. I made it through it. Just took me 4 days.
It only took me I literally only died 3 times on normal.
Screw you.
But once again, like, that does not break or ruin a game.
No, it does not. It lessens your enjoyment of it. And,
yes.
And it just sections of games like that, you think would have been fixed in development.
But you have to understand the developers are tuning it as the developers, and the developers obviously know how to play the game to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And
I'm obviously not developer standard.
Well,
anyway.
Anywho, so that negativity turns around, and then the fans are stuck with the press, doing blog posts that are not up to journalistic standards. This weird, we get the review first BS.
Oh, somebody's review of the review of a game. Right?
Yeah.
Like IGN had an exclusive on something.
Had exclusive for I think BioShock Infinite.
Oh yeah.
And then like even before that, Gerstmann Gate with the whole Kane and Lynch thing. Obviously the fans aren't really trusting. And the other thing is, Destructoid ran a very interesting column about how ad blocker is basically killing them.
Well, yeah, because they have all those pop-up ads that help pay for their stuff.
Yeah, and people were like, you know, you shouldn't, and I read the comments in the article, like, you should be glad I even come here. Like, I could just go to any old blog.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's a horrible attitude to have.
But it's true. I mean, they could go anywhere rather than Destructoid if they wanted to.
Well, yes, that's 100% true, but that doesn't invalidate Destructoid wanting to get paid for them going to Destructoid.
But you know, maybe they need to find a new way around how to get paid rather than having ads that come up.
Like,
in your face.
let's be 100% honest. Dave and I don't get paid for this.
No.
We do this because we like games and we like talking about games. But if someone did want to pay us for this,
we'd want to get paid.
We would do that. Like, if it meant that there was an ad in the bottom right here, that's what we would do.
That wasn't because we're using YouTube for free.
Because that would help us live our hobby and help us do more in our hobby. And the idea that the press should just go out there and do this because out of the goodness of their heart and it should be free for everybody is the dumbest thing ever.
Well, and
I've always felt like this is my problem. I'm a Redditor. I'm on game collecting Reddit, but my feeling is the people on Reddit think that everything on the internet should be free, but what they did, and you should have to pay for that.
You should pay for their stuff, but no one else's.
And that is the dumbest idea ever.
It is a really dumb idea.
I don't care how bad it is. Even if it's Tommy Wiseau's The Room, they made that. They deserve money for your enjoyment of it.
Why you do that to me? Why you say that? Now I can't think of anything. But
Internet, you're tearing me apart.
That movie was so terrible.
But they like these guys write these blog posts, whether they're up to journalistic standards or not. You read them.
Yeah.
You should also see the ad.
Well, I mean, they could do what Giant Bomb does. Have a premium service where they have certain
no ads,
video casts that they do.
But the people on Giant Bomb even use ad blocker all the time. I think Klepik said it.
Well, yeah, but they still so they make. I don't know how much of that.
I like the guys on Giant Bomb.
Yeah, we like that.
I'm not a premium subscriber, but if they told me tomorrow that Andy, we're going to go down if you don't become a premium subscriber, I would find the money because I like their voice.
You pay the $60 for the year's worth of subscription.
Yeah, I like what they have to say about video games. I want it supported.
But see, on top of having no ads on their site, they have exclusive content that only premium provider service dudes get. And I think you get a T-shirt or you get a gift card for like $15
if I
in their store.
If I go to IGN, if I go to Kotaku, if I go to Joystick, if I go to Destructoid, if I go to Giant Bomb,
and whatnot.
I'm going there because I trust them. I like what they have to say, and the trade-off for me liking that and going there is I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this ad. Now, there's one website that shall remain nameless, Game Trailers, that for whatever reason in my version of Chrome is ridiculously broken. So literally videos will only play a couple seconds in and then stop. And then I watch an ad and then they play a couple more seconds in from the beginning and then there's another ad. And I don't understand why, but if I just refresh the page a bunch of times, eventually it just shows me the ad once and then I watch the video. Like if you show me one ad and I watch a video, that's fine.
Yes.
If it's like a 30-minute video and you're showing me 2 or 3 ads,
just like every 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's fine. But please make sure the website is coded well enough.
It might just be your version of Chrome.
It might just be my version of Chrome that
or use Mozilla.
I don't have to sit there and like watch the same 5 things all over the time.
That's another thing. Well, and like with Twitch is the same deal. Like every time you start your stream over, like if you have to refresh the page, you will see an ad before you get to go back to what you're doing.
But I think Twitch does it really well because Twitch has a little banner underneath it that says like this ad helps support the content that you're watching.
Yeah, and it does. The little banner's there on most of the time, but I saw the same commercial like 5 times. I was trying to watch something.
I don't mind seeing the same commercial over and over again.
You just mute it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Although I did see there's this really cool new technology where you actually type in the slogan of the ad that's playing and it stops the ad.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Which as an advertising guy, to me, that's genius.
Because then they already know your slogan. They're already familiar enough with your product to know, hey, just do it.
And it's more interaction. It's better. It's better for the advertiser to get that interaction from you. So
that's cool.
But so all this negativity is just swirling around with ad blockers and the poor journalists are starving. Maybe not all of them are starving, but journalism as you know it for video games is actually in a pretty bad spot right now.
Yeah.
We've lost 1UP. We lost Ugo. I'm trying to think what else is shut down
There's
recently.
been a couple of them that have gone.
And like
wayside.
that's not good, and it's happening because we're using ad blockers.
Oh, we lost G4 TV, but that's okay because they were all about random
Yeah.
crap anyway.
Well, the G4 TV is a good example. Like people didn't want to watch G4 TV ads, commercials,
no.
so they just tuned out.
And now it's GQ TV or something
I
like that.
have no
yeah,
clue.
It's like
But
yeah.
So meanwhile, the developers don't really know what we want, and when they give us something, we're just ingrateful bastards
Yeah.
about it.
Well, some people are. Like
Some
the
people are. Once
vocal
again,
minority.
We are talking to the vocal minority.
About them. Yeah.
On that subject, we need to become the vocal majority.
Yeah.
If you like games and you're going to Kotaku and looking at their ads and everything, start commenting, start being interactive with them. Start saying like, hey, like I like Snack Taku, which is their weekly like
that's some cool stuff.
review of food, and like I'll comment on like this is amazing, this is interesting. Let's start putting that positivity out there because the negativity is just becoming horribly oppressive.
Yes, it is. All over the internet.
And we're at the dawn of a new generation. Or maybe
generation
slightly
of games.
after the dawn, if you count the Wii U. But we're at this wonderful spot where we should all be excited. You should be ready for this. I am excited to see what Xbox. I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm not a Microsoft guy. But I'm excited to see what they bring to the table.
And you know the rumors are still swirling around that we're going to see a PS4 announced type event for the Xbox sometime this in April.
Yeah, this next
But
month.
we don't know.
We don't know.
We
like
didn't
that's
know.
the thing. Like we don't know. Like you should be excited because you don't know. Because back in the early '90s when we were growing up,
We didn't know anything.
When you didn't know anything, you assumed the best.
Yes. There's another system coming. There's a sequel to this game coming.
Yes.
You know it's
Your
going to be
dreams
everything
weren't
that you
dashed
loved
yet.
and it was awesome. Now,
So let's get back to that.
Now that we are, we know the second a new project starts, more or less.
Yes.
We're all like, oh, great. Now they're gonna break it and make it crappy.
I'm going to challenge everybody. First off, I'm going to challenge the publishers and developers to give yourself the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That there is an audience out there for what you're doing, and that they're going to be excited for what you're doing, and that you're on the right path. Now, granted, that right path that you think you're on might lead you down the wrong path, but believe in yourself when you're doing it.
Yes.
And for publishers, believe in your dev teams. It always amazes me that people like Ron Gilbert can't get funding because he always makes great games.
And Double Fine.
And Tim Schafer Double Fine in general. Like it always amazes. They make really good games. They have an audience out there.
But they
so
always
publishers, give your developers the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe this game will get sold a lot used. Maybe it won't. But just give them the benefit of the doubt. To the press, I say once again, give yourselves the benefit of the doubt. Work harder at what you're doing. Do a lot more of the long form stuff, less of these like throwaway blog posts. Dig deep. Do those really good things. Like that's why when 1UP went away, that's why I was sad because 1UP would do
1UP had all
really
kinds of good
in-depth content that was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Do more of that. Believe in yourself. Believe that there is an audience out there without ad blocker that wants those things. Now to the fans, my challenge to us is to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Don't be negative. Put positivity out there. And be excited, be pumped.
It's understandable to be skeptical about something, especially
Well, yeah,
when a new developer picks up an IP that everybody loves.
Don't be an idiot. Skepticism is okay. Nihilism is not okay.
Yes. Fucking nihilism.
Like everything doesn't suck.
No.
We live. I tweeted. I was like, I love that I live in a world where DuckTales Remastered is a thing.
Or will be shortly. Yes.
Like and go out there and Twitter is a great resource. Go out there and find the devs that you like on Twitter and subscribe to their Twitter and comment back and forth. Even if they don't comment back to you, maybe they will. But maybe they won't read it. Maybe they will. But be positive. I did not know. I now follow the guy the head of Way Forward in Austin. That's heading up dev on DuckTales, because I was just like, this is amazing. Like you guys deserve a pat on the back for this even happening. Let's be excited, because that's what this hobby's good at. Like we're good at being excited,
and
get
having
hype,
a lot of fun.
Get hype.
If you don't like video games, why do you play video games? Like that's the thing. Like
if you're gonna sit on a website and be like, oh, this is stupid.
Unless you just like to watch the world burn, troll.
Yeah, like don't troll and don't feed the trolls and ignore the trolls. Everybody, whether you are a fan, whether you're a publisher, whether you're a developer, whether you're a press, ignore the trolls because they're just out there
to troll you.
something's going on in their life, I always like to think that whenever someone does a bad comment,
They just had a crappy day.
like literally like their day was a like freaking Sunday morning cartoon strip of like horribleness, and they're like, I'm gonna get back at the world for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna crap on somebody because somebody crapped on me.
Yes, let's be positive.
Yeah.
Let's not pass the crap.
No.
We'll see
Flush
you
it.
next week. Don't forget to spay and neuter your Pokemons, and hug a dev, hug a console, hug a publisher, hug a press guy, hug a fan. Let's do this.
That's a lot of hugs.
So it's a lot of hugs. That's my new iOS app, Hugmeister.
Hugmeister.
You just tap the hug button.
Yeah, all day.
All the
Just take a picture,
hug.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of like the old kids in the hall. I'm squishing your head.
Yeah.
I'm hugging you. Oh, that looked weird.
Yeah. No.
You don't want to see that from my vantage point. Later, guys.